TV. We are sponsored by Regal Elevators and Lifts Consultants Limited, a company that is owned and operated by a Millwall fan, just like every single one of the sponsors that you can see on the screen right now. If you are going to do a bit of business in 2022, then please keep it in the Millwall family by checking out all of our sponsors' website links in the description below. This is your post-match analysis, sort of covering yesterday's opening fixture of the season, a 5-4 defeat at our local rivals, Crystal Palace. The sun was shining, but it was raining goals in Beckenham. As always, let's start out by taking a look at the 11 that started the match. Okay, so as I said, a post-match analysis of sorts. I did do like an extended match report yesterday, as well as a 2.5 hour live stream, which has had over 10,000 views, by the way. So thanks for following us on that. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are closing in at a rate of knots on 18,000 subscribers. So I don't want to go over old points that I covered yesterday. What I want to do is pick up a few points that I missed. I want to pick up areas I think we can still improve. And I'm going to rate the players, in my opinion, which means nothing, of course, from yesterday's game. So points that I may have missed yesterday or didn't get across properly. We conceded 5 goals, and Gary Rowett, alluded to the fact in his interview on Recast that you don't want to ship 5 goals. Of course, you don't want to ship 5 goals. I don't think the goals really were anything wrong tactically. I think it was a combination of things. I think it was a case of dusting the cobwebs off, but also on top of that, every single goal has come from down our right-hand side. Now, I'm not blaming Hayden Muller, Ryan Leonard, Danny McNamara, or Charlie Creswell for any of this. I'm just saying, look, it's a very random, potentially strange game to start your pre-season off with, to go and play Premier League opposition. And make no mistake, they fielded a very, very strong side for the first hour at least. And they've got Zaha, they've got Eze. Zaha hangs out on the left. He terrorises Premier League defences. So for our youngsters especially, to come back and for that to be the first man they faced and team they faced, I feel it was a little bit harsh on Muller putting him at right wing back, because he isn't a right wing back. And when the team sheet went up, I actually put him as right wing back and put Leonard as a centre back. Someone said in the comments, oh, that's not right, because Leonard will be right wing back and Hayden Muller will be centre back. Now, mate, you was wrong and I was right, but I wish you was right. And I feel that maybe we should have done that. I feel it was unfair on Hayden to throw him into that deep end. But listen, it's only a friendly and he'll definitely learn from it. I just feel that they was that good and that strong down the left-hand side, and literally every single goal they scored came from down the left-hand side. But look, no one ever wants to concede 5 goals in a game. And if you score 4 away from home, you're pretty sure you're going to get sang out the game 9 times out of 10. But it didn't work out that way. It was a friendly. It did serve a purpose. Gary Rowett, did say good points and bad. We don't want to concede as many goals as we did. But we definitely got good minutes out of people. The new signings definitely shone. Honeyman especially. Afobe. 2 chances, by the way, Afobe. 2 goals. So it's unbelievable. You can't knock that at all. And I felt that him and Buer up front were a little bit restricted. They was having to defend deep. They wasn't really given many chances, and when they did, obviously Afobe stuck both of these away. So brilliant from Benick. And on top of that as well, looking into who we may need going forward, we know we got Shackleton potentially 99% coming through the door probably tomorrow. But I believe now, on the back of that friendly, that if the gaffer says, look, Shackleton's in, then that's it. But we're going to play Topolodge, and we're going to have a Lafay as well. And we're going to have them 2 boys around the first team all season with a view to getting them games on the back of yesterday. Absolutely no problem with that at all. I thought they both did really well. Bez especially, as the first time he sort of stepped up to that level, I'm pretty sure. Lafay has played league games, of course, out on loan at Sutton in non-league and in League 2. And again with Lafay, he did it yesterday, dropped deep, tried to attack from running from deep, but he was having to do a lot of digging, he was having to go a lot of searching, and ultimately, he's a goal scorer. He wants to stay central and get his goals, but he didn't do that yesterday. I'm shitting on the ratings a little bit, so let's fire into it, and the team that started the first half. So here's the ratings for you. Barkowski 7, Muller 6, Malone 6, Leonard 7, Cooper 6, Alex Mitchell 6, Honeyman 8, Evans 5, Bennett 6, Afobe 8, and Tyler Bury 6. Let's start out with Big Bad Bart. Now, he's conceded 2 goals. To my memory, he didn't have a lot else to do. First goal, they've just passed through our lines. And again, was Zaha that good? I definitely felt that everyone was focusing on Zaha and no one was focusing on Eze at the back post. And Alex Mitchell just looked really surprised when he looked round and saw him there. But it wasn't just Alex Mitchell. There's 4 or 5 Millwall defenders in and around the vicinity, and we should have cut that pass out. If we can't stop Zaha, okay, then one of the four of us will have to pick up the man at the far post. We didn't do that. Bart, no chance for that goal, but with a second, brilliant save from Bart. Couldn't do any more, and I felt again the defence switched off a little bit. It was fortunate that it did go in the direction of the Palace striker who tucked it away, but I do feel that we should have, the defence should have helped Bart out a bit more. But brilliant save from Bart. Other than that, not really a lot else to do that I can remember. So on that basis, I'm giving the big dog a 7. Next up, Hayden Muller. Look, I've given Hayden a 6. He had a little bit of a torrid afternoon against Zaha, but that's to be expected. As I said, look, he's not been in our first team. He did break in a couple of years ago in the COVID bubble, and again, he's getting played at right wing back, and he's not a right wing back. So it's good that the gaffer's got faith in him, and I know he's got good pace, and I know he's good on the ball. So that's probably what Gary Rowett's seen there, an opportunity to give him games, because we are inundated with centre-backs. However, I do feel it's harsh on Hayden, putting him at right wing back. But again, look, it didn't matter who was at right wing back or right side of centre back, as I named earlier, the four: him, McNamara, Leonard, and even Creswell in the second half, which I'll get onto. You know, brilliant player, distribution great, scored a goal, but even he was having a little bit of a torrid and couldn't seem to contain the threat down Crystal Palace's left hand side. So nothing against Hayden. Glad to see him back amongst the fold. Definitely lessons learned for him, but he's got a 6. Flipping it over now to left wing back, Scott Malone. I don't know. I got the feeling he's gone a little bit. He's got that world in his locker, and he does have a little bit of a presence on the pitch with his experience. But I think we've seen the best of Malone. When he came back to the club, it was very torn. And I was very pro Malone. I thought, yeah, love him. First time at the club. He's come back now. He's been at higher levels and he's come back. And I thought he was really good for us. And he scored a lot of important goals. And I thought he was a major threat going forward. And at times, I've said, when we play that free up front, he will be better playing up the top, because he is not fantastic defending. But the back end of last season, I don't know, a similar with Keithton Bell. I feel that the legs are just catching up with him, and age is creeping in. And for me, I think the left-hand side wing-back for us is an issue. I think we need someone there, and that's why I'm very interested in getting Besart Topologin more involved, because I think that could be a problem position for us this season. I think you may well see, if you've got all centre-backs fit, you may well see Murray Wallace come out to left wing-back, and if I'm honest, I think I prefer that to Malone, more defence-minded, but we know he can still get up top and nick a goal, predominantly from set pieces. So yeah, Malone, I don't know, I think his days are numbered as a professional in general. Nothing against him. I know he's been good for us, scores a lot of goals, scores the occasional worldie, but if he doesn't do that anymore, I don't really feel he offers a lot. So on that basis, I gave him a 6. So next up, 3 centre-backs. They've conceded 2 goals in that first half, and I felt they got good protection from George Honeyman. He was here, there, and everywhere, like the honey monster, getting involved literally all over the pitch. Really excited to see him in a Millwall shirt long term. Evans, non-existent. Sorry, George, it's not good news, but I'll get onto that in a minute. But the back 3, Alex Mitchell, again, very similar to Hayden Muller. He's been away a long time. He's been out on Leyton Orient in League 2. Yeah, League 2. And I just felt it was to get thrown in yesterday, and he needs that. He needs to gain the experience. As I said, these results mean nothing. But for me, a couple of times, the sort of pace was in front of our a little bit, and I feel that yesterday I'm going to give him a 6. Next up, Juicy Jake. I'm sorry, Juicy, you know I love you. I'm very, very much pro Jake Cooper. I defend you all the time for the weirdos that don't think you're that good. You are that good. You've been fantastic in the Millwall shirt. But again, yesterday, with Leonard playing centre-back and Mitchell there, I felt they needed a bit of guidance, a bit of leadership, and I thought you was a little bit slow to react a couple of times yesterday. So you're getting a 6 from me, Coops. Ryan Leonard, on the other hand, this is going to be a problem for Gary Rowett now. It's a good headache to have, because I think he's got a big decision to make. Because I thought Leonard played really well in the game, and especially, you know, with our second goal, he showed going forward he's still very, very good. I like Leonard. I never used to. I think some of the best work Gary Rowett's done at the club is turned Leonard into a much better player. I've said that before. But his fitness is the problem with me for Leonard now. If he can stay fit, then the gaffer's got a hell of a decision to decide between him, Saville, Mitchell and Honeyman over who's going to be the starting 2 central midfielders. I forgot to say as well, I like the fact we did play a 10 yesterday, and I'm hoping now that we are going to revert to that. We look much more compact, we look much less disjointed, and I think 10's the way to go. But getting back to Ryan Leonard, played centre-back yesterday, and I thought he looked really good, thought he looked assured, thought he looked confident, thought he brought a little bit of experience and presence, so I'm giving Lenny a 7. Next up, 2 central midfielders, George Evans and George Honeyman. George Evans, I'm not being horrible, if we get Shackleton in, who can also play centre midfield, along with the 4 I've just mentioned, I don't really see his purpose at the club anymore. And I've noticed on his, you know, if you look down his career, on his Wikipedia page, he's been at places for a long time, like Reading, like Derby, but he's not really played relevant games to the amount of seasons he's been. And that's because I think, if I'm honest, he gets found out. He's all right to have as a squad player, but I don't even think we need him for that now if Shackleton comes in. Like I said, thought he was completely elusive yesterday. The only thing he did do was nearly snap one of their players in half, which is all good if you're getting about the pitch and commanding and dictating play, but he doesn't do it. He's no good for me. I don't like him. He got a 5. Next up, George Honeyman. I've said that he really excites me, this guy. People are calling him, a pumped up Ben Thompson. He's as small as Ben Thompson. And I like Ben Thompson. There's nothing against Ben Thompson, but people are saying he's a bit like Tomo with a slight touch of more quality. I'd agree on that. Good hand in the goal. Afobe's second goal, which was brilliant, by the way. Great team goal, great movement, great passing. To be that slick and crisp with your passing at this early stage is really, really impressive. And I thought Honeyman was all over the pitch. At one point, he slotted in Mason Bennett on the left-hand side of the box. Mason Bennett's fired the shot across. The ball's been cleared quickly. It's gone out to their left midfielder. Look round and Honeyman's already there. So he's definitely going to be a success at the club, in my opinion. He's definitely going to be a Millwall top player, and I'd love to see him in a central midfield in a 2. I don't believe he's a 10 for a minute or a forward-thinking, striker left side or right side. For me, Honeyman's a central midfielder. I think he could be the one to compete with and to join in that team when the season kicks off. He got an 8, by the way. Did I forget to say that? Next up, Mason Bennett played in that 10. I've said this before, it's Mason Bennett's best position by a mile. He was brilliant at the back end of last season. It's just the issue with, can he stay fit and does he want it enough? Similar to Conor Mahoney, who's left the club. I felt Benno struggled yesterday. I was excited to see him in that 10. He did show a couple of flashes of brilliance, but we was out of possession of the ball for a lot in that first half, and I feel that he had to track back as well as the strikers, which didn't help them, but I'm giving Bennett a 6. And then the 2 strikers, I love the way that Gary Rowett's put Afobe experienced up front with Bury and Bradshaw up front with Alafan, sort of probably got the 2 senior players and said, look, get into them, get into them, teach them a few things, show them the ropes, and hopefully they can gain a valuable bit of experience. Very good management that from Rowett, and I did enjoy it. However, for me, Tyler Bury, if we do revert to having the 2 strikers and some of the 10, he is not an out-and-out striker for me. I knew he was with Hartlepool, but this is the next level, and I feel he's quite in and out in games. Again, he had to track back a lot yesterday, or we was out of possession a lot, so we say. So he was sitting very deep with Afobe, so he didn't get the chance to do what he's good at. What his game is getting on the ball and running at defences. He did it for one really good run, I think, where he got brought down and got a free kick, and he did press their keeper well, which their keeper let slip under his foot and in turn conceded a corner for us to equalise after 4 minutes. But just not his position for me, and not a great day where strikers are going to get loads of chances. So maybe a bit harsh, but I'm giving Bury a 6. And finally, the final striker, Benik Afobe, back at the club. I think it's done us the world of good, that him going away. Do we want Bennett? Do we want Bennett? Then he fucks off and everyone's like, please Bennett, don't go. He's come back. By the way, sometimes I say Bennett, sometimes I say Bennett. I should say Afobe, shouldn't I? So I can differentiate who we're talking about. I'm talking about Bennett Afobe now, not Mason Bennett. Look, 2 chances yesterday, 2 goals. You can't argue with it. Bennett Afobe gets an 8. So that was half time, and then the big switch around. 2-2, come from behind twice. As I said, they picked us apart from the left-hand side twice, but we scored 2 goals. One where we just seemed to want it more in set pieces, and it's refreshing again for me that we're scoring from set pieces again. 2 yesterday from set pieces, and then that second goal from Afobe, absolute brilliant team goal. So we come and we switched the entire team in the second half. Crystal Palace didn't do that. They made a few substitutions, I believe, after about an hour. It wasn't easy because we had a new kit on. Loads of players had switched squad numbers and no one had their names on the back of the shirt. So it was very difficult, especially with my mince pies, at times, to work out who was who. And on that basis, I'm going to give you my ratings for the second half. So the team for the second half was as follows, and I'll give you the ratings as well. George Long, in goal, 6. Danny McNamara, right wing back, 7. Bessart Topoloj, left wing back, 7.5. Charlie Creswell, 7. Sean Hutchinson, 6. Murray Wallace, 6. Billy Mitchell, 7. George Saville, 7.5. Zion Fleming, 7. Tom Bradshaw, 6. And Isaac Alafe, 7. Goalkeeper, Longy. Bart turned 35 this week, and I really like Bart. He's been brilliant for us. I do feel that, I was like, whoa, 35, I didn't realise he was that old. And he won't go forever, so I believe that this season may be Bart's last, and I feel that George Long's at the club and he's maybe been told that, and said, look, in time you're going to come in. I've been told that Long is very good in training. I love the way he can knock the ball both feet. I love the way he was fuming yesterday when we kept conceding goals, because he shipped 3 in the second half. 3? Yeah, he shipped 3 in the second half, and he couldn't have a chance of any of them. Again, exposed down our right-hand side, their left, complete different set of players for us. It just shows us, again, the quality they did have down that left-hand side. He couldn't get near any of the goals, but other than that, I don't think he had a shot to save, other than one straight at him. So unfortunately, Longy, on that basis, you got a 6. Next up, the Flying Irishman, Danny McNamara. I'm going to give Dan a 7 yesterday. Again, felt he did well. He's very tough in the tackle, and he did try and impose himself physically to try and not squash that threat. But again, I just feel the Crystal Palace were that good coming down their left-hand side. But Dan's a player we love. He goes from strength to strength. He gives everything in the game. And for me, yesterday, he's going to get a 7. And on the opposite side to that is Besart Topoloj. Now, I've got a soft spot for Bez because I've been watching him for a long time. Met him the other week in Bromley as well. He came up to me with Hayden Muller. Thank you, Dan. I was like, all right, boys. And when I've looked, I was like, oh, fuck me, sorry, boys. So I had a good chat with him over at the Glades in Bromley. And Besart Topoloj, yeah, I liked Bez. My best mate, not so much. But my best mate really liked Dan Moss, and me, not so much. And we had a little thing where we go, oh, your mate Dan Moss, your mate Besart Topoloj. Dan Moss is down the road, and Besart Topoloj started the game in the second half yesterday, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant, considering he's never played. He's probably played in training with the first team, but he's never played at that level against a team of that level, and I thought he's really good. And again, with Malone aging, with Murray Wallace predominantly playing centre-back, injuries will creep in. If we're not going to get anyone else in at left wing back, I know he's linked with that Longolo from West Ham, but not heard any more on that recently. I would be over the moon if he, as I said, Gary Rowett said, look, not getting anyone else in, but we're going to have Bez having games this year, and we're going to have Tanto having games this year. I'll be over the moon with that. I thought we did really well in the game, and on that basis, he's been marked up from a 7 to a 7.5. Well done, Bez. Next up, centre-backs. Okay, boys, what can I say? Let's start with the good news. Charlie Creswell scored a goal in his debut, commanding, running out the back, travelling, so confident on the ball. He's almost like a midfielder playing at the back, like the way he's passing is superb. The crossfield passes that I've seen on his show reel, he was pulling them out yesterday. And as I said, he scored a goal as well, very physical. Brilliant going forward, brilliant distribution. I'm sure he's going to be brilliant for us. But I'm sorry, if people want to dig Hayden Muller out in the first half, then you've got to do the same for Creswell in the second, because he stuck tight to the task. He took left, took right, went back, and but he didn't prevent the crosses coming in that caused the goals. So you can't hold one accountable and not others. I didn't think, again, I've said this a million times in this video, he did anything wrong. Just they were that good on the left-hand side. The one where he slides in, it comes off his legs, he's unlucky. It loops over long. And then at the far post, Murray Wallace gets beaten to the punch there by their striker for the goal. I felt that Hutch and Murray Wallace were both slight off the pace yesterday, so I'm going to give them both a 6. Again, a couple of the goals, caught napping, people left free in the box, and I'm looking for my big, bad, experienced centre-halves there to be pointing a few fingers, rattling a few cages and getting a fucking few directions sorted out and getting people in place. But it didn't happen. We conceded 3 in the second half. Hutchinson 6, Murray Wallace 6, Charlie Creswell, good goal in your debut, Charles, 7. And moving into centre midfield now, Billy Mitchell and George Saville both played really well, together. This is why I'm saying now that Gaffer's going to have some very difficult decisions to make. I love Savs. I was buzzing when he came back to the club, and then I was a little bit like, oh, this ain't the man I remember. But I thought yesterday he was back to near on his best, putting himself about the pitch again, a little bit of authority, a little bit of leadership in front of the back three, taking set pieces now, of course, now Jed's gone, set up a couple of goals. Thought he was really good in the game, and as I said, I think him and Billy complement each other really well. Billy allows Savs to bomb on a little bit, but I think, again, with that 10, it's going to benefit both of them as well if we stick to playing a 10. Billy's he's unappreciated amongst our fan base. I know he is. I will say, I love you, Bill, but your shooting's got to improve, because just before Fleming stuck one, and you did have a chance yourself, which went a little bit over the bar. But look, he seems to be like the core of our side, like the hub. I'm trying to struggle with terms to think about, but he sort of comes in, it goes out, comes in, it goes. He's like the lighthouse, like, just keeps turning. The light keeps turning, and it showed with Birmingham away how much we missed him when Rowett played Keithden and he shouldn't have done. I think he's underappreciated. I think he's a fantastic player, and I think he's going to go from strength to strength this season in our side. Billy Mitchell gets a 7, George Saville gets a 7.5. And let's move on to our boy, the Bermondsey Bergkamp, Zion Fleming, Ian, Zane. You can call him what you like. I'm just going to call him the Bermondsey Bergkamp from now on, as I have been. Look, people in our live stream yesterday saying, we ain't done a lot, has he? Just chill. Let's not put that. Let's not put that on him as well, right? Let's not put the added fucking pressure of our fan base on him. He's 23 years old. He's progressing quickly in his career. He's come to England for the first time. I mean, at 23 years old, well, I was in this country. I was fucking Bomboli, Zens, and anywhere else I'd lay my hands on 4 nights a week. But look, it's going to be a difficult transition for him. If he didn't see the interview he did on the recast app, they asked him would he rather have pie and mash or something else. He asked what pie and mash was, and when they explained it to him, he looked horrified. So he's new in the country. Again, never played in England, let alone played against Premier League opposition. And he didn't do much. He seemed a little bit lost in the game until, of course, the absolute weldy. But I think the reason is this. And I think this is a reason that Afobe sometimes gets unfair stick. Because he's playing in that 10 now. And I think if he goes wandering, we're going to miss... You know, he needs to be in his position and stay in his position. Similar to, I used to love Lee Gregory, but he used to go looking too much sometimes. I feel Afobe, if he's playing up front, he's a centre forward. He needs to be in the box. And I feel Fleming knows he needs to be that link between the midfield and the strikers. We need to give him the right sort of service. And then if he doesn't distribute the ball in the right way, then we can criticise. But look, he has got a touch of class about him. There is, you know, fears of it could be another Uwe Fuchs situation. I don't think that's going to happen. He's come from good stock. He's come from Ajax originally, and he works his way up the leagues very quickly. He's not afraid of a challenge, and that goal yesterday was absolutely sensational. The confidence just to flick it around the other side, take a touch, get his head up, compose himself. Keeper may have done a little bit better, but let's not take anything away from him. I'm excited to see him, but on the whole, that was probably the best part, well, it was the best part in the game for everyone, as well as him, as well as that second goal. So the Bermondsey Bergkamp, Ian Zion Fleming is getting a 7. And finally, the two strikers, Sir Thomas of Bradshaw and Isaac Tanto Alafe. Bradders, I love you. I've been a massive advocate for Bradders for a long time. And, you know, we're all rowing, of course we are now. But let's not forget, Bradders got fucked off out the team for about a year in favour of John Danny Bavardson. And only come back in because of injury. Since then, he's never looked back. He partners Benik Afobe very well. But I thought you were shit, Bradders, yesterday, mate. I've got to be honest. It's only the first game of the season, so it doesn't matter. But you had a good chance from about 8 yards out after some good interchange and play in the box between Mitchell and Fleming and a couple of others. You fired it straight at the keeper. But other than that, you made a couple of nice runs off the ball. I remember Creswell knocked long range one, but he was offside. But not your greatest day, Bradders. But there you go. You'll come back. You'll come good. I know you will. But on that basis, Bradders is getting a 6. And finally, we're moving on to Tanto. Isaac Alafe. Thought he did really well. I've watched him for Sutton. I've watched videos of him. I've gone to watch him play for Sutton. And what he was doing yesterday, exactly what he loves to do, is drop deep and go on a charge and run. There was a couple of runs he went on where maybe he was slightly too self-indulgent. There was one at one point, Mitchell was in support and he could have squared it to him, but he decided to go alone. But look, striker's instinct. He wants to score goals. He didn't look unconfident of the level. He just looked to carry his game from League 2 straight into this, fearless. And look, I don't care if we don't get another striker now. We need another striker, in my opinion. That's if you're going to let Tanto out. If you're not going to let Tanto out, absolutely fine with it. Especially if we're going to play 2 strikers now. We need sort of 4 strikers just in case we do start playing 2 central strikers. But I'll be over the moon if Tanto was one of them. Thought he put himself about yesterday. Very, very physical, and I'm going to give him a 7. So that's your lot for this Sunday video. I thought to myself this morning, should I do a video? And I thought, well, your match report was quite long yesterday. You did a live stream. There's not really much to cover. Well, I proved myself wrong there, didn't I? Fuck me. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm putting this out tonight because obviously during the sunshine of Sunday, I've been sitting out in the garden and I hope you have as well. I hope you've enjoyed your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow for hopefully a Jamie Shackleton sign-in and a Dartford preview. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.